Okay, good. Right, sorry about all that. That was terrible. I did honestly. I got here an hour ago in order to set everything up, and I've been setting things up. But then things got a bit tricky, and then I couldn't set it up, and then I was fussing around, and I couldn't remember how to use the Mother 32. Do you ever have one of those days when you can't remember what that's about? No vocal, somebody said. Speak up, increase your mic gain, or turn the music down. What? Okay, hang on a sec, let me just check what's going on. That should be there, that's there, that's there. Oh yeah, no, I turned this down before. 1, 2, for other reasons. 1, 2. Whack that up to there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. That looks better. 1, 2. Okay, I'm just going to give that a minute to let me know that you can hear me now. Sound. Mic is good now. Thank you. Mic is not good. Is it good? Is it not good? Shall we all go away and come back tomorrow? Would that be a better bet at this point? Everything is normal. Okay, good. Much better. Good. Right. Super. Now the reason for that is because I actually did some recording. I recorded some claps, and it was overloading the mic, so I had to sort of turn the mic down and readjust my gains, things like that, which is fine. That's a normal thing one does as a top producer, sound engineer like what I am, or something. So that's what I did, and of course I forgot, because this has been set to the same thing now for years, and so when I change something, it's all a big disaster. Anyway, welcome. Here we are. We're only about half an hour in, and now we can really start. So welcome to this, I guess, the Christmas edition, the end of year edition of Molten Modular DIY. We are here to, I don't know, just sit and have a bit of a chat about where I am with all this DIY stuff. Because we had a really good week a month or so ago when we focused on it, got a load of stuff done, talked about a load of stuff. And then since then, we hit a little bit of a dry patch because I had a few things I couldn't finish. I couldn't get a couple of things fixed. And other things gets in the way. Life gets in the way. I'm a busy boy. I've got things to do, places to go. People, not really anyone to see at the moment. But suffice to say that I haven't got on as well with the DIY as I'd hoped to. But I thought I'd bring you all up to date, have a look over what I've got planned for the new year as I'm trying to put together. Because, it's a new year. So what you do is you put together this wonderful schedule of things that you think you might try to do, and then plan out the rest of your year like that's a normal thing. Yeah, so that's a plan anyway. But I thought we would sit down and have a look at those sorts of things. So how are you doing? More importantly, how are you out there? Let me just greet a few people in the chat. Only my favourite people, of course. Everybody else, don't really care. But let's see. Andrew, good to see you. Mark, Corey, good. Flea, that's a good name. Decard, great to see you here. Ben, lovely people. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, Mr. Goatfish, he's here. That's really lovely. Heyo. Yeah, good. Barney Rubble, lovely. Lots of people telling me to speak up. That was from before. Use maths to boost voice, says Steve. Yeah, no. Ken, you've opened your beer. Good, well done. I'm not going to open mine quite yet because I might do some soldering. I haven't quite decided yet. We're just going to have to see how that goes. So, Tanuki asked me how the Decard's dreams go. We will get to that. I have exciting news on that. Not really. Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, I did show a voice card. It's here. I'll get to that. Hey, how you doing, Anders, as opposed to Andres. Got to get that right. Great. So, I do have another camera set up. Do I output what is that doing? So you're seeing that. So what am I seeing? So what happens if I do that? Absolutely nothing. What if I do that? Nothing at all. I don't think I'm connected to anything. Oh no, I need to do that with that. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, we can do an over the top. Over the top. Oh Lord. Right, put it together. Get it together now. Get it together. Right, so So where should I begin? Well, I did mention let's do this straight away. Let's get stuck into it. Now, some lovely people sent me some new haircut. Yes, thank you. Thanks for noticing. It did get a little bit crazy before, although I feel it's a tad short on top. It's not quite mad professor enough for me just yet, but hopefully we'll get there. But some nice people sent me some gifts, which is lovely. It's not expected. I don't expect you to to send me Christmas presents or birthday presents. Did I say that I was 50? Did I mention that? But yes, so let me do that. So a couple of people sent me some gifts. Now, I did have a brief look at them, only to go, oh my goodness, somebody sent me a gift. And then I thought, well, no, let's put them away, and I will get them out properly in a live stream. So here we are, and that's why I'm here. DIY, they seem to be DIY related bits. So let's get stuck in with no more ado. And just in case you're wondering, I will absolutely accept gifts from anyone. I really don't mind. I mean, people often say, I'll send you something. You don't have to make a video about it or anything. Yeah, right. I mean, I'm always going to make a video about it, aren't I? Well, that's assuming that it's interesting. Otherwise, why would you be... This is slightly strange. Why would you be sending it? Okay, that's the geezer's address. I don't want to do that. This is from James Gable, I think it is. He's a patron of mine, which is lovely. And he sent me like a care package. Now, first of all, we've got one of these strange things. Maybe it would be time for the overhead camera. I don't know. Maybe it's good for me. I mean, obviously I'm not showing that to you at the moment. But yeah, let me go with that. So that's that one, I think. Yeah, okay. Right, so a little thing, right? You use it for sticking in, I can't remember, trims. Yeah. For fixing trims on stuff, you can use that. That's a useful thing. Thank you very much. Now there's more. Sent me this. Now this, I think is one of those resistor leg what's it. So if I take a resistor over there, so I no longer know what that is, I think I put that in there and I bend the legs over. Now I kind of had one of these and I didn't get it because I've never ever had anything that wide. Never. I mean, most resistors that I solder in seem to be the width of the resistor themselves. So perhaps this end one here would work. I mean, I'm assuming that's what that's for, but I don't actually know. I think that's it. But that's very jolly nice. And I should say that to James out there that I might be being cheeky and taking the piss slightly, but please, I really did appreciate the present. It's awesome. I think it's a lovely thing to do. And now I'm just going to make gentle fun of it because that's kind of who I am, which I'm sorry about. But it's a lovely thing. But I'm just going to, so don't be offended because I'm mightily appreciative. That's lovely. So, okay, that's a couple of things. Not done yet. Next thing. Now, this has got me slightly puzzled. I mean, when I first opened it, this is the first thing I saw. And I don't know what it's for. I mean, they look like forceps, right? Like you'd use in some kind of medical situation. And that seemed to lock. Ah, well, maybe because it's for tying off an artery, right? It ties off an artery, and then you hook them up, and then it stays done. So that's awesome. I mean, if I ever slip with my modelling knife or something, then that's going to be useful. That's lovely. That's lovely. And there's another one. This is a smaller one. They're for holding roaches. Are they? Really? Is that in focus even remotely? I don't know. Am I quite sure what my camera's doing today. So another pair of those. Nice, okay. Not done yet. This. Now, what is this? This, I think, some kind of piece of test equipment. Could be. I mean, if I plug this into something that's got an output over here, an output like an LFO output. Which is the output? Oh, it's the block ones. There we go. That's making a thing. It's got an in and an out, and it's got a volume knob on it. Alright, so that's just one of those that does that anyway. Oh, it's one of those tip-top stackables. I've never had a stackable before. That's exciting. So this presumably is like an attenuator. That's going to be my assumption. Can I prove that? If I take... Well, if I simply take the output of what I had before, which was... I pulled it out. There we go. And plug this from the output into it. Yeah, see? Nice. So that's the thing. How beautiful is that? And then I mean, this is flipping generous, mate. Is this? Now this appears to be a modifier for the Create audio case, which I've got over there. Adds a stereo jack for a headphones output. How interesting. So you've got to remove the amp board. Drill a couple of extra holes. Oh, wow, that's a bit scary. Solder on these. Okay, so that's a little project trying to get stereo sound out of the Create audio box. Nice. Put that out there, I think, out of the way. Nice wrapping paper. Nice card from the fella. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Don't want to give you his lovely card. Lovely. Stick that there. Put his address on camera. Whole bunch of stickers. Look at that. Nice. And then what do we have here? So I think this is a test kit. Classic noise, it says. I think this is a tester. That's what I think it is. Or is it? Power tester? Don't know, but it's a little DIY kit. Look at that. Look at that. So that's extraordinary. James, thank you ever so much. What a lovely bloke. Now, I should say something about this because, I mean, you'd have no way of knowing unless you've been a really long time follower of mine. But Synthotech is kind of one of those companies that I don't really associate with really anymore. Not that I ever did as such, but there was kind of a bit of a thing that kicked off a couple of years ago where the bloke behind this was a bit of an arse, unfortunately, and I think it cost him a lot of, well, it cost him a lot of everything, a lot of credibility, a lot of his reputation, a lot of business, I imagine. And it's weird now because, you know, we're now in the age of Behringer and things like what he was about just seem I mean, no, I mean, I'm not going to let him off the hook by saying it was mild by comparison. No, no, just different, just on a different scale. Because this is a bloke running a little company, making little things with a couple of people, Whereas Behringer is a whole other multinational, multi-million, billion-pound thing. But anyway, so I would not have purposefully gone out and purchased a Synthotech kit at all. But I will absolutely and graciously accept a gift of one, because that's fine. And I know that the gift was absolutely meant in good faith, and so I will take that on board as that was meant, and will not go on about it. I mean, I also did review the Ratchet, which was a module by Synthotech's guy's daughter, although that seems to have disappeared now. I mean, I had it for about 6 months. I did a review of it, put together some videos, and I told her all about it, and haven't really heard anything since. I don't know whether it still operates or not. I've seen them that they're still for sale, but there's been no further development on that, so I don't know whether they decided not to continue, or she decided not to continue with all that. I do not know. But suffice to say, here I have a kit from Synthotech. I will possibly make it in a minute. I don't know. What do you think? So there we go. That was lovely. I mean, I'm still not entirely sure what to do with these, but I will stick them in my desk tidy over there with those useful bits. Some fabulous stickers. Ooh. Oh, it is a tester panel. Oh, look, here's a packing list. So what it is, we've got a tester panel. Yeah. From Moscow in Idaho. That's interesting. A resistor lead bender. Right, that's what that is. A soldering thermostats. Soldering thermostats. Stackable cable, great, yeah. A Vol box inline attenuator, got it, right. Jack light red blue, yeah. A pot adjust tool, that must be the little thing like a pen, and a stereo socket. Lovely. Thoughtful things, thank you very much indeed. You have to put that back somewhere because that's gonna, oh dear. Right, good. That wasn't the only thing that turned up. I also got another box from somewhere else, which I'd like to show you, which is this, because this has got me slightly quizzed. Sorry, just the chat has already gotten to the moral dilemmas associated with our business. So this is from RYK Modular. He kind of thanking me for being nice about his gear, which is like, I mean, it's good gear, man. So why wouldn't I be nice about it? So anyway, I'm just going to have to put this down because I can't quite cope with it where I'm sat at the moment. Ugh. And let me show you what he sent me. So he sent me this stuff. What is this stuff? I don't know. It's a bit mysterious. It's called a Bestockons und Landhandmen. Population and soldering frame. I mean, it's great that people are trying to send me stuff in order to improve my soldering game. You know, I appreciate that. That's awesome. Is it the sort of thing I'm ever actually likely to use? I don't know. But let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. But before we do, something else he sent me. All right, and I'm just going to go over here a minute, and I'll be back, and I'll see if you can tell. See if you can guess what it is. See if you can guess what it is. Talk amongst yourselves. Just a minute. Come in. Hang on. Just a second. Yeah, I'm just coming. Sorry, I should have pre-prepared. I'm pretty sure I talk about interesting things usually on my live streams. But never mind. Oh, what about that bit? I don't know. What am I going to do with that? Oh. So, have you noticed anything different? Have you noticed anything different? Oh dear. Oh, that's just the thing. I'm just going to get these bits out. So three things there. A bit of room. Right, so first of all, yeah, it's the shirt. I'm going to wear it. I'm going to wear it. So here I am, Jake. I'm wearing it. Thanks very much for the shirt. It's much appreciated. Now I should say something about shirts, just in case this becomes a tradition or something. You might not believe this, but yeah, I just have to speak and own my own truth. I am extremely fussy about the shirts that I wear, the shirts that I buy. You know, my wife would never dare buy me a shirt. I shouldn't think. I don't know. Maybe she would. Because I'm very, very particular about it. I mean, he just wears crazy loud shirts. Yeah, I guess I do. But they're very specific shirts. Very carefully chosen shirts. Something to do with hue, with colour, with the pattern, the way it mixes, that kind of thing. And this lovely thing is probably as far away from the sort of shirt I would choose myself as you could possibly get. I mean, it's delicious. In a European kind of way, I suppose, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like Timmy Mallet. If anybody knows what that is. But that's kind of how it feels. And I mean no disrespect to Jake. I think you're awesome. I can't believe you sent me this stuff. That's just fantastic. What a lovely, lovely thought. What this is, I don't know. I'll have a look in a second. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with it. But yeah, that's fantastic. So I will wear it as I am wearing it, and then we'll speak of it no more. All right? Good. So what the heck is this then? I think I might get the... Can I get this out of the way a little bit more? Oh, a tiny bit I can, yes. Right, those little things out of the way. Sticker. What do you mean European? I know what I mean. Sort of Dutch. The way that European gentlemen dress. Oh, I'll get myself in all sorts of trouble. It doesn't matter because we're out here. You know, they've got like a week left, Europe, and then pff, who gives a monkeys? So we're told. Anyway. So am I going to intuit my way into this one then? Is that good? Right, there were instructions. What did I do with those? Oh, they're over here. So, montage and Beidenschleidentötenting. With the assembly and soldering frame, you can equip and solder circuit boards in a device successively. The assembly and soldering frame consist out of aluminium profiles. The outside framework holds 2 (brackets 3) adjustable rails into whose lateral slots can slide the circuit boards. It is somewhat more comfortable if you screw retaining springs from spring steel onto these rails. After unique adjusting of the rails, you can plug in and release the circuit boards easily. The cover possesses a 40mm strong foam material layer and holds in closed status the components on the circuit board. For equipment, the circuit board, the cover is removable. For soldering, you must close the framework and turn it 180 degrees to put it on the grasp of the cover. The grabs serve as setting up handle. I'm going to look at this another day. I just know. I've no clue. No. I mean, what is it trying to say? Is it trying to say that you put these bits in here, which then... Oh, it's stuck to each other. These bits come across like that, and then if you had a circuit board, it would clamp onto them like that, and then you can use the foam on the back to push the components in and then solder happily on top. I think that's what this is about. That's what I seem to think this could possibly be about. That's what I think. I've just never seen the like. Right, okay. I'm going to put this to one side because otherwise I'm just going to be sitting here scratching my head, and I'll have a look at that another time. So it's possible, into my tiny space here, that I can't wear it. I can't do it, man. I can't sit here and look at myself in such a garment. I just can't. Oh, I'm a disaster. That's so cool though, mate. That's so really very, very cool. Thank you so much for the thought. And I'll definitely have a look into that frame and see whether I can get my voice boards going. So, right. So let's talk about things to come. Projects that I'm working on. That's got to be good, isn't it? So, first of all, let's show you where I am with the Decard's Dream. Cool. So this is where I am. I am here. I have done an entire voice card. It's a beautiful thing. You know, I've done a lot of kits now, and the Decard's Dream stuff is beautiful. The layout is beautiful. The colour of the PCB is beautiful. Even down to the choice of resistors and bits and pieces. Just awesome. Just awesome it is. There was nothing difficult about it. I mean, there is the surface mount on the other side, which I did live, if you remember, during Modular DIY week. And that was pretty cool. But there was nothing inherently hard about this. I did mess something up. I put all of the capacitors in the wrong place. I mistook, I think, the 1.5 capacitors for the 100 pico ones. Or I don't know. I put the orange ones where the blue ones should have been. And when I came to putting the blue ones in, I suddenly realised, oh, these are already full up with these other capacitors. So, assuming that you can actually follow the bill of materials correctly, there is nothing problematic about this. So I have 7 more of these to make. Now, someone has suggested that I could plug this into the motherboard and get it running as a monosynth. Now, that's tempting. It's tempting, but I ain't going to do it. And let me tell you why. Because I don't want to fail too soon. I don't want to fail until I've done it, if you know what I mean. Because if I can't get it to work, I'll then end up down some other rabbit hole and I'll never get the thing finished. Whereas if I finish all of the soldering, all of the thing, put the whole thing together, and then it doesn't work, well, that's fine. I can troubleshoot all of that. But if it fails at this point, then I will lose any momentum or any ability to do it moving forward. And I think that would be a shame. So I'm going to endeavour to finish off the other 7. And they are here. You're probably not supposed to do that kind of thing with PCBs. So yeah, the plan is, I mean, I've been trying to get my teeth into this like the last couple of weeks, ever since I finished this. I was doing little bits, got that finished, brilliant. And I thought, right, I'm going to do a blitz on all these cards. Couldn't quite pull it off. Could not find the time to do it. I've had a lot of stuff to do. Sound on sound in particular, I've got quite a heavy workload for. Things to learn. I had to spend a lot of time on the Korg sequencer trying to get my head around that, and I'm going to hopefully, actually planning to do another video on that tomorrow, because there's a whole area of that Korg SQ64 that we didn't really touch on. Neither did Loop Pop, which is interesting. So I thought, well, there's room there to do another video, and it is quite interesting. And what I'm talking about is the pattern part of it, the firing of patterns, changing patterns, chaining patterns, that kind of thing. How that works. I also want to plug a MIDI keyboard in, do some polyphony, kind of combine those elements together in the video, because those things weren't in the first review I did. There's been no update from Korg as far as functionality goes. Switches are slightly worrying, but hopefully my man in Japan will get my mails and my woes and let us know if there's an update to things like the arpeggiator and other bits and pieces like that. So that's the Decard stream. That's where we are with that. So I'm going to set all these out, hopefully, maybe one day next week, maybe during the holidays, because I don't know that I'm really getting any holidays. I'm going to just lay all 7 out and go bash with all the surface mount and then bash with one lot of stuff and see if I can just get through them all in a couple of days. I think that would be awesome to do that, because it's time for the dream to happen, I think. Let me put this in here as well. Do I? I don't know. I'll put this up here. That's safe up there. Everything is just safe. Excellent. Yeah, so good. So that's Decard stream. What else do I have coming up? Well, I've got this. This is... Have a look. I think Andrew's just been talking about this in the chat. This is two logic things from Frequency Central. Now, I'm having an interesting time with Frequency Central, I should say. I've spoken to Rick a little bit because I had some trouble with the product, which is what you heard earlier. Along with the Mother 32, I've got the Frequency Central product working. I got it working. The video is unedited, but I need to edit all the video down and then film the calibration bit and a bit of a demo with it, and then I can have that video out, which is long overdue because I hit a problem with the oscillator where I could not get it to speed up. It seemed to be running just extremely slowly, and the octave knob didn't do anything. So after a lot of faffling about, it worked out that, yeah, I just soldered something wrong. You know, it's always going to be that. It's always going to be that. And it was. So I finally got through that with a bit of Rick's help and sorted that out, and now it's working. So what was I saying? So Thonk have sent me their 2 new Logic modules. The idea being is that I don't really know anything about Logic modules in Modular. I mean, I understand Logic. I've done Logic in terms of AND gates and NAND gates and OR gates and that kind of thing at school, but I've never used Logic knowingly within Eurorack. So the plan was to build these 2 fellas, do a build video, and then do a what on earth is Logic about type video. So that's the plan with that. I know Steve at Thonk would really like it if I was able to get it done by the new year. Oh, I don't know. Seems like a tall order. Certainly the build doesn't look difficult, but the problem is me learning about Logic and what's that all about. I mean, you know, I can make a guess. So you have an OR gate that it's open if one or the other one is done. I don't know if that will help. An AND gate, you need both of them on. An AND gate, you need neither of them on. Anyway, I've got a fair bit of research to do and probably videos to watch, I imagine. So there's that. That's going to be coming up. Sounds like sooner rather than later. That's a beer. This is the other Robo. Yeah, because I never quite got around to doing this, which is the little LL8, which looks very cool. It's not that, sadly. It's the LL8. Because I absolutely adore the 3PT that we built together over Modular Week. I haven't used it in a massive amount. I've just used it really as an LFO, just very slightly. But there's something about the look of it, the movement of it, the potential in it, which I find really intriguing. So I'm very keen to get this one done as well, because it was a beautiful kit last time. And this looks no different. And this one came directly from them. And so the part should absolutely match the manual, which didn't quite happen with the 3PT. So that's going to be good. So definitely want to build that as soon as I possibly can, because that quite excites me. I also like the idea that it could be sort of a little bit of drum central, because I'm still, you know, I mean, I've had the ratchet for quite a long time, but that's not in my immediate rack at the moment because I've moved on to other things. So I don't really have anything for running the drums. The black sequencer, which I'm using from America Synths, I'm focused on that a bit as well because I'm currently writing a review of it. That doesn't really have a drum section. I mean, you can turn it into a 4-track drum section, but then you lose all the melody. So not really. So I've been using the SQ64. And that's sort of good, but I'm also finding that, particularly in the drum section, there's slight, I don't know, it's bits like you can't individually fill the sub-tracks, at least that's what I'm finding so far. So when you're dealing with channel D, which has got 8 channels, 8 sub-tracks within it to do your drum sequencing with, the trigger sequencing out the back, when you dial in fill, it fills the whole lot. So everything goes crash, 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 crash. Wouldn't it be really nice just to be able to fill one sub-track? But it perhaps requires a little bit of deeper thought and investigation. Who knows? And something like this could be just a little thing to write patterns on. That's all I'm really after. Little thing for writing patterns on. Maybe that'll be the one. So that's cool. Now, what else have I got? I've got this. Now this is the Lich from Bafako. It's got this very cool Rebel Technology DSP in it for running strange software and kind of modular within a module kind of thing. There's all sorts of algorithms you can download and stick into it, so it can become a gazillion different things, which is very cool. Now, I had hoped to get this together by the time they were actually releasing it, but there was just no way, unfortunately. because it doesn't look particularly simple. It looks like it's got a lot of things going on. Yeah. So I've got that one coming along as soon as I possibly can. Maybe I can take a day on it during these mysterious holidays that no one's getting, that I'm not getting. Am I going to have holidays? I mean, you know, sort of, but I kind of work every day because I'm running part of a news website. You're sort of running all the time. I don't know. And then there's kids, but not having to go to the in-laws or go to this place to see these people. So maybe there's room, or maybe I'll be playing Cyberpunk something if I get that for Christmas. I don't know. Anyway, so that's that one. What's here? Oh, also from SynthCube. It was SynthCube that sent me the Frequency Central product to build on their behalf. So I'm sorry that's taken such a long time. The other thing they sent me is this, which is a triple vectoral resonator. I have no clue what that does, but it sounds very exciting. It's from Phonotronic DIY. So, very interesting. So I endeavour to give that a go as well soon. Now that I've got the product out of the way, pretty much, it seems to be working. I haven't put the knobs on it yet. Then I can get on with the next thing, which might well be that. I do also have a couple of things sort of left over from a long while. I've got this this envelope, the EG1 from Casatronics, which they sent me, which I did do a little bit of on the Modular Weeks. It had some surface mount, so I did the surface mount bits on that, I think. Yes, I did a little bit of surface mount on there, so I'd like to finish that off. That would be super. I've got this roll your own kit arpeger, which is a low pass gate, I think, that I've had for about 2 years. Really like to do that. And I've got the sampling from Bufaco, which again I've had for about a year. Which I'd like to do. But priority-wise, those logic gates, obviously, I'm kind of under a bit of a deadline to do. Really like to get the little LL8 made. Then the Lich, and then so on from there. And in between that, all the Decard Dreams. So that's, I think, where I currently am. I do have these kits. Now, this is something from a company called Skull Circuits, called an MT1. And I've got a very special plan for this, because the other thing that I haven't finished is the Cosmo modular. The stuff I did with Sam Battle from Look Mum No Computer. Do you remember that? That was a good night. Didn't get it finished, but I do have all the parts in for it now, so I could get that oscillator finished. And I have 2 of those to build. So I'd very much like to get those done. But I came across this. It's a voltage meter. And I have a special sort of weirdo plan in my head for developing my own module, right? Which has something to do with this. I'm using this as kind of a tryout to see whether, if my idea in my head pans out, then this is going to help me achieve that, I think. You know, this kit has got a ribbon cable that doesn't have the ends on. This is hardcore DIY, man. Doesn't even have the clips on the end. Oh dear. So yeah, all that Cosmo stuff. I've still got that to do as well. Oh, crazy. But that will be good. I'll be into doing that. It's just purely about finding some time. Talking of which, we've probably been doing this for about an hour. I should have a beer, which probably means I'm unlikely to do any soldering now. But let's just see how we go. So, there we go. How's everybody feeling in the chat about all those sorts of things? Do they look very possible to you? Any questions? Any thoughts? Maybe we'll just take a break from me running on for a sec. I'll have a little sip of some foam. and answer some questions. I really shouldn't put that on gear, should I? There we go, down there somewhere. Is that your issue, says Andrew? Oh, I don't know. Regarding what? So, oh, you're just talking amongst yourself. That's fine. If you get yours working, let me know, says Andrew. Which one? Logic modules are good for generating random rhythm drum triggers. Okay. Yeah, resoldering. I mean, it's funny, my conversation with the product, which is here. I mean, let me show it to you. Well, I'll talk what I could do, couldn't I? So yeah, I was talking to Rick about it, and he's saying, oh, well, you just need to resolder a couple of bits. I'm sure it'll be fine. Just reflow the solder. Now, I kept hearing that expression, and I sort of started thinking to myself, does it mean something that I think it does? Not. Does it mean something else, is what I mean? Because resoldering, to me, means you heat it up, and you stick more solder on it till it's really globby. So that's my assumption as to what resoldering means. Or reflowing solder. I mean, I know if you're putting it in some kind of oven, that's a whole different thing. But I wasn't doing anything of that sort. So I was assuming it meant you just heat the solder and jam more solder into it. So that's kind of what I was doing. It's a chunky thing, this. Very, very chunky. Look. Quite extraordinary. But it is an entire synth voice. You know, it's essentially... Is it a Moog project? No, it's a Roland. It's a Roland synth, I think. The VCO is a Roland-based one. I think that's the idea. And all these bits... Oh, so I've got to be careful because I haven't screwed it in completely. But these all come out. So you've got like 3 sections. So you've got the VCO, the filter, and the envelope, I think, over here. So... the problem I was having was with this section, or more specifically, the section here with the octave switch on it. So you can see octave switch here. And I'd been through all the soldering. I'd added globs of solder. I stuck a load more stuff on it, soldered it again, carried on. And still, it wasn't really working. I was just getting this low clicking noise, and there was no pitch change information going in. Driving me nuts. I was convinced there must have been some problem, and of course you assume the person who designed or made the module in the first place would just go, oh yeah, what you need to do is just put a probe here and a probe on this point, and it will tell you exactly what it is that's going wrong with it. But that never seems to be the case. It's always like, resolder it. Oh, troubleshooting's really hard, try resoldering it. Which feels frustrating, I have to say, at the time. However, I thought after resoldering it half a dozen times and not getting anywhere and still not being able to see where the problem is, I decided I'm just going to suck all the solder off. So I pulled all the solder off around the what the octave was going to the chip next to it, to the surrounding components that were connected to it, and just did it again. And I came across this trimmer, which I'd had some problems with. And you see all these trimmers here. It was supposed to be, I think, an upright trimmer, not a flat trimmer like this. But all the trimmers in the kit were flat. And so it didn't properly fit in the hole. And that seemed to be the problem. When because I was trying to stand it up and bend legs into the particular hole that it had on the build guide, on the photo on the build guide. But there's a second hole that you would put it into if it's a flat one. So I flattened it, so now I can't access it directly up here. I'd have to take the front panel off because I can no longer access it. But I put it flat, soldered it into the other hole, then it worked. And so that was the problem. And Rick is sort of saying, oh, well, but you should have used a stand-up one. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, there's a link in the build guide that shows you exactly the one to use. Great. It came as a kit. It came as a kit. I had no choice. I just soldered in what came with it, But anyway, you'll see the whole horror of this build in the video once I've finished editing it down to some kind of sensible size, which it's not going to be because it's an entire synthesizer. So quite a hefty build. But having played with it a little bit now, not very much, it's quite raucous, which is nice. And there's a lot going on. So it's quite a fun little thing, I have to say. And an entire synth voice. Very interesting. So I will try to get that video finished. Oh god, what have I got to do? So tomorrow I'm doing the Korg thing. Next week before Christmas, need to get the black sequencer done. I've got the data bender to review. Well, if I can get it done next week, that would be great. I'm just going to have to see how that goes. What got me onto that? I don't know. Anyway, what were you saying? Anthony's saying that he built the bass line, the Erica synth bass line. Crikey. Trying to work out why it didn't work, and it turned out to be a track missing on the PCB. See, that's nuts. How are you supposed to troubleshoot that? Because, as I say, the manufacturer nearly always assumes that you've soldered it wrong, because 99% of the time that is right. You've soldered it wrong. You've got it in the wrong place. But every now and again is something completely nuts. There was one project I was doing where I ended up having to cut lines. You know, the guy who built it saying, oh, well, it looks like you're going to have to cut this particular line. So, you know, standing knifing into the PCB and then trying to take a piece of wire from somewhere to somewhere else. It gets very messy. And it does make you wonder about how much people who make kits test these things out before they start manufacturing them. But, well, you know, they must do, because it works for the majority of people. That's always the way. Excuse me. No thought of mutable instruments grids? No. I mean, I'm not seeking out things to do at the moment, because I have plenty to do, plenty of kits to do. Sometimes something just appears that you know, that's new and exciting, and I go, oh, I must have it. But I'm not sort of looking back and seeking out stuff just at the moment. It might be good to get into a position where I can do that. At the moment, I'm still very much in catching up with things. Careful with the lich. You built yours and having some issues caused by pads that lift very easily. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Can we build a synthesizer like Arturia or Moog products? Yeah. Yeah, you can. You can build whatever you like. There's people out there who do massive kits like the Decard Dream that I'm building, or the TTSH, the 2600 from based on the ARC 2600. You can get a kit to build that entire thing, including the case and everything. So you can build massive synthesizers. I mean, the product here, the Frequency Central product that I was just showing you here, has as much in it almost as a single oscillator Moog. You know, it's not a mini Moog, because I had a couple of 3 oscillators. This has only really got the one. But so you can build those sorts of things. Certainly, all sorts of things are available in kit form. But they're expensive and hard. If you want something relatively straightforward, then Eurorack modules are ideal, absolutely ideal, because you're building little bits, so you're not going to break an entire synthesizer in one go. You're adding little bits and improving your Eurorack, which I think is brilliant. It's a brilliant thing to do. And if it all screws up, you've still got what you had. You know, you've not broken an entire synthesizer. You've perhaps broken an addition to your synthesizer, which could more easily be replaced, I suggest. You soldered a header and burned the header. Yeah. Removed it and then the path lifted. It's hard if you do things wrong when you're soldering, trying to undo it. God darn it, that's difficult. I mean, that's one of the things that, I mean, would the frame help me with that? Trying to desolder stuff. I don't know that it would. Interesting. I'll have a look at that. If it has Vactrals in it, then it's good by default. Cool, yeah, yeah. Triple Vactral resonator. Build it now, says Harry. I'm just going to do a timing assessment, right, on this fella here. See, it's a 2 PCBer. No, it doesn't look hard. No, I can't do it in an hour. Not after I've now started drinking. Doesn't look too difficult though. See a nice front panel. It's going to fit on there some way up or other. How's that going to fit? There. Yeah. All right. Well, somebody's been enthusiastic about it. That might bump it up the list, you know. Bump it up the list because I have no clue as to what that is. Am I at the bottom? Oh, Lord Veda, assuming you're European again. Your first DIY module was a product. I mean, wow, man, that's a heavy project, I think. I thought that was quite meaty as projects go. So yeah, Frequency Central stuff is brilliant. I'm really getting into it. Wow, I'm finding it really interesting. So I was talking about this earlier and then got sidetracked in how different it is in feel from something like Bafako, and how these different kits are presented differently. You have to tackle them differently, more so than you would have thought, you know. Excuse me. I mean, the Bafako ones tend to be dense, so there's quite a lot of intricate soldering going on because they're trying to keep everything as small as possible while having incredible functionality. So they can be good, but the instructions are top notch, I think, with Bafako. I never have a problem following what it is I'm trying to do. The best instructions, of course, are music thing. Music thing instructions, fantastic. They're just a whole level beyond anybody else's. Individual things photographed and shown in close detail. Brilliant. You know where you are and what you're doing. So things like the Touring Machine. Brilliant first build. Frequency Central, you just get like kind of a sort of a scrappy piece of paper that says, these are the bits. You kind of put it together a bit like this. Might work. Is kind of the feeling you get from Rick. It's like, oh, okay, so you go with it, and yeah, absolutely, it can work. But there's not anywhere near as much hand holding as there is in some other kits, and you know that's both challenging and also okay. That's okay. Should be good enough at this by now. But I do feel that Frequency Central have a bit of an old school view, in that they're kind of assuming that you know what you're doing, that you should know what you're doing, they're a little bit of an engineer, and you understand electronics, you know, all that kind of thing. And that's horribly naive, I think. Because any old idiot like me is getting involved now, and I'm encouraging other idiots to do it. So their tech support must be rocketing these days because of things like the stasis leak that I did, encouraged a load of people to get. But all I'm saying is that they are different. They are different kits. They present in a different way. The instructions are different. And you can find yourself a bit adrift, I think, on a Frequency Central one going, I have no idea what I'm doing. But, you know, persevere, get it through. Rick was brilliant in helping me sort out the product. Even if he didn't have a particular clue how to do it, he was just encouraging me through the process and insisting that I resoldered, because that was ultimately the answer. So that's cool. The kits from Robo have been excellent. The 3PT I did, which was good fun. We did that live on a live stream back in Modular Week, and that was great. It was hampered terribly because, I mean, it's that inevitable thing. They spent all that time putting together a beautifully coloured manual that showed you step by step exactly what to put where. The problem was that when they got Thonk to put the kits together, they didn't specify that they needed to be using a particular color of resistor or a particular tolerance of resistor, and so a lot of the components were not actually what they were in the photograph, which was a shame, and the whole thing kind of fell apart at that point. I mean, it didn't make it any more difficult to build. It was just like, here's all this wonderful information, it's just wrong, and you're going to have to ignore it and just take the gist of it and move on. So that, I imagine, is the problem of trying to put together very, very detailed manuals, is that things change and you've got to keep up with that. And there's always the potential of things not being exactly the same for the customer who's building it than it was for you when you built it at the lab, you know. So good, yes. What other kits have I made from anybody in particular? Casatronics, those kits were good, solid, fine. It's mostly been I should get all my DIY stuff together and have a look at it, see where I've got to with all of that. Oh, the sample slicer, yeah, that was pretty good, except it didn't work, and that ended up not being my fault, but it's working now, and I've used it in the last live performance I did. Do you see that? Used it a lot. I wonder if there's another way of using it, so I don't just end up doing exactly the same thing every time. Don't know. Dara, you just bought a new tech. How to make it more complicated? Do you mean the NTS one? It's not difficult to put together at all. It's really quite simple, and it's a nice little box. You can sit and play with that for hours because it has lots of potential, lots of interesting things. It's a good thing, particularly when you start incorporating other bits of MIDI gear with it, and audio as well, because you can use the effects on all sorts of things. Is that what you're talking about? I hope it is. Anyway. Oops. Mr. Wishbone, good. I need to order some beer from you, sir. That's what I need to do. Is it too late for Christmas? Is it too late for Christmas? Have I ever looked into the Beast Tech stuff? Their kits are amazing. Australian company. No. Frankly, I haven't. Beast Tech. Is that going to come up really easily, do you think? Beast Tech. Unique super lo-fi glitch noise and rhythm computer Eurorack modules. Breathe new life into your modular with this brand new experimental things. Oh, okay. Cool. Double Dragon, Mutagun, Transmuter, MIDI Groovebox and Drum Machine interface. Digital drum module. Trigger burst generators. Glitch drum. No, I confess I've never seen those before. They're not remotely familiar. But yeah, look interesting. Cool. Cool, thanks for the tip. Bastles. Yeah, I made the compass, which is kind of Bastel, as it's not from their usual run of things. It's slightly different, which was cool, but the instructions for that came with a whole lifestyle guide, kind of a way of living, let alone how to build the module. But that was a nice little build, I seem to recall. Yeah, I'm not going to spill my beer. Don't worry. I like to keep people on the edge slightly, so that's why I do it here. But everything is fully covered in plastic. It couldn't possibly happen. Oh, it couldn't possibly happen. A go-to module for generative patches. I would say the Omsonic Stochastic Generator. That would be the one. I've only really scratched the surface with it. You raise notes on it to increase the potential of its possibility of the probability of it randomly firing. Otherwise, for generative stuff, you generally have to patch a load of stuff together. I did a whole thing on the Krell patch ages ago now, a couple of years ago, and it was very much patching LFOs into LFOs, or certainly using maths and something coming out of that and going back into it. So it tends to be a combination of things. So you want an LFO to be increasing and decreasing the possibility of something happening somewhere else. That sort of affair, as opposed to having a single module which does that sort of thing. It's much more of a collection of modules in a patch than it is a single one, I would say. But certainly the stochastic generator would be a good one for that, along with a Turing machine and a couple of LFOs. And probably some noises. Might need some noises, like some VCO typey things. Yeah, I'm not looking at clouds at the moment. I mean, I once had a clouds and then I had to let it go because I didn't really get on with it very well. I know it's most people's favourite module, but I liked it. The reverb was nice, you know, some of the effects were nice, but it just seemed to be doing the one thing all the time, and I couldn't get anything out of it on purpose. And certainly at the time that I was using it, I was eager to get sounds that I recognise and sounds that I knew how I did, so I could do it again. Do you know what I mean? Clouds just seem to be it's a bit like Magneto. I'm finding now, slowly chipping away into Magneto. So I've found a couple of ways of using it that I find very pleasing, and so that's sticking around. But there's lots about it that I don't fully understand. Now, I found that with clouds, but there's rumours all the time for clouds too, just on the horizon. So I think it might be worth hanging on to see what happens with that. Doop doo 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 doo. Andrew's just got a bonus. That's nice. Lead-free solder. No, I can't. No, I can't recommend any lead-free solder. I went leaded as soon as I was able. I did try lead-free to start with, and I've just found it hard. It works, of course it works. You've just got to heat it for longer and hotter, and switch into leaded software from lead-free. It's like it's doing one of those things that just makes everything work better. It was quite amazing. I mean, I was probably using really crap lead-free software, and I've certainly seen people in videos saying, "Oh no, lead-free these days, is much better. You should try it again." Yeah, but which one? I mean, you put lead-free solder into Google, there's no knowing what it is you're supposed to be getting. So for solder, I ended up trying to find a pot of that stuff I remember using when I was a kid. And in doing so, I ended up with the stuff I'm using now. Which is here. I think there's a label come off it. No, there we go. So I use something called Multicore Ursyn. See that? All right. 6040 tin and lead. 0.7 mil 5 core solder. This is fabulous stuff. Fabulous. It's not cheap. Not cheap either, but that really does work. Oh, you built a compass alongside Molt. That's really nice. If you ordered tonight and I posted tomorrow, probably with you on Monday. Well, that's all right. I'll try to remember to do that when we finish. Remind me on the way out. Although I have to say, I mean, it's difficult to beat this deal. So it's something Tesco's are doing for all their 4 packs of beer. I think it is. You get 2 for £9, except for, which is all right. I mean, and it's relatively good stuff, not terrible stuff. I'm not trying to compare or anything like that with a microbrewery. I'm just saying that they have this deal of 4 beers would usually cost you a £5, and so you do 2 lots together for £9, except for the piston head, where I think they've put it into the deal accidentally because it's a box of 6, so you're getting 12 beers for £9, which is pretty bloody good, and it's all right. And you can't fault a skull on fire on the front of your can you? That's pretty good. Anyway. Error instruments, yeah. I've had sort of some half conversations with Paul. Is it? I think at Error Instruments. He said he was going to send me something. I haven't seen it. I hope it hasn't got lost in the post. But he said he was going to send me something exciting to build. So yeah, I hope to do some Error Instrument stuff, because I'm generally quite nasty about his stuff on Gear News. I'm forever telling putting it up for awards for the worst, most awful, horrible module ever. But in a fun way, and he knows that I mean it's fantastic, but also terrible. So I'm looking forward to doing some Error Instrument stuff. Yeah, obsessed with getting it to work. Yeah, that's funny. I was talking to Manu at Bafako actually about that, and because my first run of DIY modules, I would build it, it would work. I would build it, it would work. And he was saying that him and his mates would sit there watching going, how does he do that? How does he, as a beginner, as an obvious novice, build a DIY thing and have it just work? That never happens. And so I kept that run going quite well for quite some time. And then a couple of things started cropping up. And eventually, I hit a wall. I think it was the sample slicer. And a couple of other things, just could not get it to work. And it's sort of my run of perfection came to a sorry end. And it is definitely a thing that you're there going, it's supposed to work. I've finished it. I've followed the instructions. Everything is soldered. It should work. Why is it not? Oh, I haven't soldered this whole section. That might be it. Lots of things like that. And you go through it with a magnifying glass, and I've soldered it. It's perfect. It's perfect. Excuse me, but it still ends up being you and your fault in the end for not following instructions, of the wrong thing in the wrong place, or just it needs to be resoldered. It's just how it is, and it can be immensely frustrating. What would be great would be to be able to build it and then use something like a multimeter, and somehow that would confirm things for you. You could put it on and it would go beep, put it on, go beep, put it on, boop, 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 boop. All right, that's wrong. I need to sort that out. But that's just not how it works. But that would be great, wouldn't it? That would be awesome. No, so hitting those troubleshooting things is a difficult thing. I mean, it's obviously 10 times worse for me because I have such a schedule. I've got a list of things to do. I can't be fannying around trying to fix one thing when I've got another one I need to be building, and I need to have finished the video, and I end up with all these videos I haven't edited down sitting around on my hard drive. That because I haven't finished the module, I can't finish the video. So, it's just awful for me, as you can imagine. But we seem to get there. I was really stuck with the product. I was gonna move on. So I'm so glad I got that finished, got that fixed. Just got the weird calibration to do, which is not particularly clear. But I'm going to give that a go. Give that a go soon, I think. What Bastel drum module? Yeah, Andrew, once you start down in Struo, mate, that starts getting dangerous. I did a little bit. I bought their filter. And the funny thing with their filter, it seems to be a really soft, sort of gentle filter. The sort of filter where you go, well, where's the cut point? Where's the bit to it that you usually find? And so it's a really smooth, creamy, but not creamy like Roland necessarily. I don't mean that. I just mean that it seems to be like a cotton wool filter of some kind. But what it does do extraordinarily well is it self-oscillates to the point where it creates these magical tones. So I seem to be using it mostly for that. I mean, it has fantastic features in that you've got 3 inputs that are attenuatable, mixable, straight into it, which is brilliant. It's got, I think, 2 CV inputs. I mean, it's only over there. And of course, it looks brilliant. It is in a class by itself. But that self-oscillating sine wave, I guess, that comes out of it is just sweet. Totally sweet. And I forget how to do it, but you just stick stuff in it and then it does its thing. It's just amazing. Just amazing. Amazing. But I can very easily see myself getting an entire box, an entire rig full of Instruo stuff, because it's so interesting, so fascinating, and so beautifully built, beautifully done, beautifully sounding. Just not cheap either. So it will cost you an arm and a leg. So I'm resisting buying those interesting, Arbor and other modules, because I've got plenty. I don't need to go down that rabbit hole right now. Maybe at another time. But at the moment, I've got plenty to be thinking about, plenty to be sorting out. Citizen, thank you. I think it was just the haircut, mate. And I had a bit of a shave and everything. Hey, Robin, how you doing? Hey, Robin, do you see what I did there? That was hilarious. Good to see you. Great name, man. Really nice. Well done for saying something. It's, you're lucky, really. I'll try to find something you said in a minute and then take the piss out of it, just so that you feel part of the gang. Because that's what we do. Does a manufacturer logo removal solvent come in cans? Yes, I've got some here. I mean, I can show you if you like. This is one of my designs, right? Do you see? I've already branded it down the bottom beautifully. I mean, I might get some things made. I've got some things. There we go. A bit of a shine. See, look. See that? Can you try to get the reflection right? Oh, that's quite beautiful. Sadly, that's not going to quite fit on there. Look, it doesn't quite fit. So I used to put these on the front of computers, obviously. I mean, it could go. No. Have to go down the middle. It doesn't quite work, does it? It doesn't quite work. But no, sadly, it doesn't fit on there. Otherwise, that's what I would have done. I mean, I can get it printed out on my squidgy thing. What's your squidgy thing? There you go. Maybe that's the way forward. Lower. I can't have a choice of lowercase. Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Maybe I can stick that over the top. See that. Nice. Look at that. See, this is based on a module designed by Rob Keeble of AM Synths. He did some fantastic work on researching and modeling the ARP 2500, and he built a whole bunch of those designs into modules. And I've taken those modules and I've sort of absorbed them and thought about them and considered them and researched them and then repurposed them as Molten modules. You know, I mean, some people would say that would be wrong. That if I was copying something, I should actually produce my own version of it. But then if you're going to produce a version which is exactly the same, why not just use the one that's exactly the same? So it will be exactly the same, because I can tell you this is going to be an authentic, absolutely authentic Rob Keeble module, because that's what it is. I've just put my name on it. Yeah, so now it's mine, you see? That's brilliant. I'm going to sell them for about 20% extra because they're exclusive. That's the idea. I'll fix this. I will fix this. I still haven't found that. That fell off. I have no idea where that went. It's so sad, really. So that's a little bit crap. But never mind. I'll endeavour to get quality control on that to see if I can fix it. I've got more of these coming in. I can tell you about it if you like. If you want to have that conversation. I'm sure we'll be having that conversation at some point soon. This one's just arrived recently. It's the 1005. Those buttons do not feel like they look. They do not. And this is, I think, I don't know what it is. I think it's a ring modulator. Anyway, I'm going to obviously investigate this, and then I'll do my own version of it by taking the name off the bottom and putting my own name on it. And then it becomes mine. It's brilliant how that works. If only I knew that's how, competition and development and, honouring the past. If I knew how that would work, how that is how that works, I would have been doing it years ago. Here we go. Apparently not. Robin, yeah. Well, no, that's definitely a problem, because sourcing your own parts for modules is difficult. That's a whole other level. I mean, I threw myself in the deep end with Decard's Dream, rather, in that that's precisely what you were supposed to do with that. And I spent a lot of hours, days in Mouser and Farnell and Radio Spares, RSS, whatever it's called these days, trying to work out where to get all these components from, this massive list of components. And it was impossible. Impossible for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because I didn't really know what I was looking for, and you would often find that, particularly with capacitors, that they would look massively different. You'd have little glob ones, little tall ones, square ones, and you'd have no real clue as to which was the right one to get for the board, because you're lacking in any kind of experience of how you do that. It's hard, very, very hard. So I ended up with the Decard's Dream buying all of the components as a kit from SynthCube and let them worry about what they were supposed to be, and I just buy all the components in one hit. So yeah, I mean, if I was you, I would have either sent it back or just put it to one side, because it will get easier once you've built a couple of projects. I don't think you necessarily suddenly learn all about electronics through building projects, but you start to become more familiar with what things look like and what things should look like. And you'll be able to go, oh yeah, no, that's not the right one. This is closer to what I recognise as being the sort of component that I need. So I think it will get easier. Absolutely, you will not suddenly learn about circuit design and how those sorts of things work. Not unless you spend the time researching that, because you can build projects just by following the instructions, putting the thing together and going, oh, it's pretty. And I've done that. I've done that a lot. And it's not really increased my knowledge of electronics. It's increased my soldering skills, my abilities to hold things together. But to understand a circuit and to know why those different bits are there, that's a whole other thing, I think. So yeah, that's a shame, but the DIY world is a bit murky like that. Probably the thing that is the thing to spot is if something's really cheap, it usually means it's just the panel and PCB, because the components is what costs the money ultimately. So if you find a DIY kit and it's under 50 quid, you're just getting the panel and PCB. You're not getting all the rest of the stuff. If it's over 100 quid, then yeah, it probably contains everything you need. But if it's cheap, then bear that in mind. I mean, the idea is, if you're taking it up as a hobby, I guess, is that you should be buying stack loads of things. You know, like I bought all these resistors because I'm building the Cosmo stuff. This is the situation where I am having to buy the components, and now, and so I bought a whole load of those, in the idea being that I will use them, possibly. But it's difficult to get to that, difficult to see that, difficult to get to that position, I think. Yeah, I melt pin headers. I mean, you should see the back of this product. I've melted so many things. You had to cut all of the headers down because they weren't. My head sticking up. They weren't cut to size, so you had to do all of that. So I had bits of that pinging all over the place. It was a bit of a mess, but got there. But every time. Oh, well done, Andrew. Well done. You learn quite a bit by looking at the schematics. Who looks at the schematics? Are you mad? Sorry, I've just skipped a whole load of something, and somebody said something nice. Oh, Reese, that's right. Thanks, mate. Oh, that's really nice of you. Yeah, I certainly will. After this, I'm going to go and order some beer from Wishbone, and get those in. Most certainly. Thanks, mate. That's lovely. Frank, yeah, I mean, it's a nice idea. I mean, the thing is, it's like I was talking to Ginkgo Synths guy. Yeah, Jan, Han, I don't know. Jan, I think. Sorry, I've got a terrible mind for names. About the sample slicer. And he actually doesn't do schematics at all. I mean, often, because it's kind of all in his head, and then he puts it down and builds it and then creates a build guide for it. So there's no real circuit diagram to follow. Which is interesting, fascinating, really. And I think the problem is that with a lot of DIY manufacturers is that there's too much work involved in producing a beginner level guide because there's not much money in it anyway. You know, they're not selling a massive amount of kits. They're not marking it up a huge amount of money. They're not making, money hands over fists doing this sort of stuff. They're doing it for the love of it and because it's fun, and perhaps it helps them get by. But there's not really the time for them to spend investing in people writing those sorts of manuals. I mean, in some ways, with my own inflated sense of ego, whatever it is, that I see myself as someone who can help, I think, because I'm determined and dogged enough to get through a kit and to demonstrate every up and every down on video and put that out there so that other people who can build it will see the problems that I encountered and get over them, hopefully with me. I think I'm almost seeing that as a service that I can provide, as well as just getting a kick out of building these kits and in really enjoying the process of doing it and enjoying sticking it on video and getting it out there. So it's like a win-win-win for everybody. And I completely sympathise with the people who build the modules who don't perhaps have the time to put that level of care and instruction into it. And also, I mean, obviously, if you're building a kit, they have to assume that you're willing to work a bit at it, that you shouldn't need to be taken by the hand. And I would say, I mean, every time, if you are doing it from scratch and you don't really have any experience, then do something from music thing. Do a Turing machine, which is quite an ambitious project when you start. They've got a couple of little things like the radio and the startup, for instance, their little headphone sort of input-output thing. Things like that. Really great little modules with brilliant instructions. So I'd recommend those every time for a first project. I seem to be losing my voice. Well, there is always the possibility of building modules based on other people's stuff, because people do that. I mean, like all the, you know, the Mutable Instruments clones and bits and pieces out there. There's absolutely every possibility of doing a Molten range of modules. It's purely that I don't have the time to think about it. But I do have, like I say, I do have this one idea bubbling around in my head that I want to just like pick away at a little bit, which could be interesting. And even possibly get it made. But I'm not a circuit designer, you know, but we'll see. We'll see. Anything is possible. The 2500 thing, it's just amusing. I mean, there was something that came out of what Simon the Magpie said, just to touch on this briefly. I don't want to have a big thing about it. And also Ben Jordan's been talking about this recently as well. And the thing that stuck with me, really, is this idea that Behringer make us feel bad about having their gear. And I can't work out how in any world of commerce or business that's a good thing. How can that possibly be a good thing? If there's people who now feel that they have Behringer gear and they feel bad about it. I mean, that was part of the critique, part of the satire of my 2500 video, of this, my video I did about the filter and the dual gate that I did over there, was that one of the reasons for rebranding is so that we don't have to be, so that we can use these fantastic modules without having to feel bad about it. Because it makes us feel bad. Having Behringer stuff now, for some of us, not everybody, I'm talking for myself personally, makes us question whether we should have it or not. And why on earth would you want to have a piece of creative electronic equipment that helps you make music and bare your soul to the world that makes you feel bad using it? It's just nuts. No one else makes us feel like that. Well, Synthetech may have done at one point, I suppose. It's just a crazy, crazy thing that's so self-defeating. It makes it, you know, if I think about it long enough, it makes me angry, because these are great, you know, and I want to do videos on them because they're great, because they're built by Rob Keeble. They're built by a guy who's put his life into designing, researching and building modules based on the ARC 2500. They're phenomenal. I mean, they're a bit cheap, sure. Build quality's not as good as perhaps it could be, but they're really, really good. So why, and of course, why should I feel bad about that? Well, who knows? It's just because I have some sense of justice, I think, built into me somewhere, and it rubs that up the wrong way. Is that snooty or hipster or smarmy? I don't know. I've no idea. It's just how it makes me feel, you know. So there we go. I don't know. I don't know whether I should have put that on there now. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it on all of them. I don't know. But they're interesting. I mean, look how fabulously interesting this looks. I know those buttons, as I say, aren't what you think they are. They're just spongy as opposed to those, you know, I'm imagining Incredible Hulk buttons, if you know what I mean. Mission control buttons, that's not them. That knob's also a little bit strange. But, you know, inharmonic preset control voltages, that sounds fabulous. Let's have a bit of that. Interesting things in those range of modules. Interesting things. And we should be able to use them without feeling... Anyway, like I said, how would you say that? Behringer. All right. Sorry, I'm probably well behind in the chat. I am sorry if I'm going back over things. Mr. Gumby, I cancelled my 2600. Yeah, I wasn't in the first batch. I know Tom at Synth Anatomy was really annoyed that he didn't get to cancel his. He had intended to, but then he got an email saying, "We'll send it out, mate." So he was in the first bundle. No, I was. I ordered mine, I think, the day after. People like they did, so I would have been on the next lot, I'm sure. Is my ear really, really red? Anyway, so no, I just cancelled it. I mean, the reason being, well, lots of reasons, I think. Why would I cancel it? Because I felt bad. The 2600 for me would have been a luxury item. It wasn't something that I'm qualified to talk about in terms of synthesizers. I don't have an original. I can't sit there and go, oh, look, it sounds like this. I'm not a vintage synth buff. I enjoy vintage synths very much, but I'm not a person who holds a lot of authority and can make interesting videos about how awesome the 2600 is. I've played with software 2600s and they're tricky and difficult, but it would be fun to explore, you know, and I would see it as a as kind of a gift to myself. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, yeah, I thought, yeah, I think I deserve to have a cool synthesizer based on something that's really cool that I could get a lot of fun out of. So that was my thinking behind buying the 2600. It wasn't I'm just going to get another synth for my studio full of synths, because I actually don't. That's not what I have. I have an inordinate amount of Euro rack. That much is true. But for regular synthesizers, no, it was a different. There's different thinking about it. It felt like it was a reward for all my hard work, was to get something which I thought would be quite impressive and fun to use. So none of that had anything to do with feeling bad about using it. So it wasn't as if, oh, sod it, I'll get it because it's for work. Because I wasn't really going to be using it for work. I was going to be using it for my own pleasure. And so that felt wrong and definitely tainted, because it was an unnecessary purchase. It was a luxury purchase. I'll be giving Behringer money for something I didn't need, and so that just wasn't really gelling with me anymore, which is a shame. You know, I've given them so much benefit of the doubt for so long, and it's a shame that mono poly's just come out. It looks brilliant. The 2500 modules, though, because I'd already started and because they are interesting and really good value, I don't know, I think I could make some interesting videos and still sleep at night and live with myself. And because I'm not the sort of person who wants to cancel something or to moralize about something, I will absolutely shout and scream and swear at any company that behaves appallingly. No problem. Absolutely. I have no qualms of doing that whatsoever. I don't care who it is. I'm happy to point out injustice and crappiness of anybody, of my opinion, you know. That's fine. But that doesn't mean that I'm therefore going to punish someone like Rob Keeble, who researched and made those projects that Behringer then brought into being. You know, that's not his fault. And I'm not going to, somehow ignore or never mention again a particular company because of the way that the people higher up the chain behave. Because we don't really know. I said this before about maybe Dave Smith gets home and, punches puppies. We just don't know, do we? We don't know. Maybe Tom Oberheim, regularly buys new goldfish every week just to leave them not sitting in water. We don't know. It's just the fact that Behringer is so public about their crappiness. Oh. Anyway, so I don't wish to moralize or make judgments on an entire company that employs thousands of people, that brings thousands of people lots of joy from their usually quite awesome cheap synthesizers. I don't think I want to do that. I will absolutely continue to point out the crappiness, but I think I've made that point. I think I right, the castle drum. Oh yeah. The castle drum. Yeah. Back to Bastel. We're talking about the drum machine thing. Yeah, weird. I had a little play on the castle. It's a funny wee thing. I mean, those patch wires are weird. Trying to work in that kind of environment is a struggle, I would say. But the idea that they would just sort of twist it a little bit and it suddenly becomes a drum machine, it's fantastic. What a great idea. What a great idea. Do Thonk not stick on metal circle knob things? Oh, I don't know. Maybe they do. I'll have a look. Good tip. Thank you. If I was to design a module from scratch, what would it be? That's really difficult. But as I say, I am working on a little something, which I think is a beautiful idea, but I'm not going to tell you about until I have something more to show. But I don't have any bright ideas as to what a module should do or would be. I'm constantly surprised by what things do, constantly learning new things and how to use new stuff well, and things like that. So I don't know. I would only ever really be thinking up things that already exist. Except for this one idea that I've got, which is going to be brilliant. Give me 6 months. I spoke about the Decard stream earlier. Well, don't worry, Wishbone. I'm going to order at least a 6-pack. That'll do you right over Christmas, mate. Am I back here again? Cool, I really did miss a load of stuff. Oh, it's jumped again. Yeah, Cisco, it's probably best we don't have conversations about that particular thing, because I don't think that there's any place where we match up on those sorts of views, which is all right. That's okay. That's okay. Has anyone used Electron notes for researching the concepts used for module builds before? Nick, that's an interesting question. I do not know what it is that you're talking about, but it sounds really interesting. Electromagnetic, just watching my PC build. Great, thanks. Nice. Wow, there's 133 people here. What are you doing? Haven't you got beds to go to? All right, so, okay, let me get a bit smarter on answering questions then. Quick. Oh. Steve, that sounds like quite a statement you've made there. Thameside Brewery, Egyptian goose. Okay. Yeah, the matriarch. Tanuki saying he's going to put down his 2600 money on a matriarch. I think that's nice. I think there's something very beautiful about those Moog synthesizers. I don't know whether it's psychological. I don't know whether it's projected or some kind of swindle. But there's just something very beautiful. The grandmother too. I mean, some people don't like the colour. That's fine. They are made mostly of plastic, but they still resonate with this vibe of being beautiful instruments. And I like that a lot. I mean, it also feeds into Eurorack very well, because in Eurorack, I know some people like all silver, all black, that kind of thing, but I like the higgledy-piggledy of it. I like the changing colours. The interesting cases that you put around this stuff. Yeah, it really just work into that aesthetic, and I enjoy that a lot. I would definitely have one at some point. I don't know. I've been dwelling on the idea of a polysynth for about a year, I think. I even wrote a silly article about it, and about how to choose, or how not to choose a polysynth. Yeah, interesting. Don't know. Don't have the room. Let's face it, I don't have the room because I have another case coming. Because that was the other slight weird swerve of my 2600 cancellation, is that I'd also ordered a custom case for it. There's this bloke up in York, I think it is, who makes cases, or rather had made cases for old ARPs and replaced his own once or twice. And he had more of this stuff knocking around and said, well, I can make a case that would fit the 2600 and make it look just like the ARP. And I thought, well, I'll have a bit of that. That'll be fantastic. Because again, I'm thinking that this is a gift to myself. It's going to sit maybe in the living room somewhere, and I'll play with it, and it'll look fantastic. It'll be in this beautiful custom case. It'll have the cables going out the back, power cables and stuff. It's like fantastic. So when I cancelled the 2600, I'd already ordered this, put down a deposit, and as far as I knew, the guy it was underway and he was making it. So I thought, oh no, what am I going to do with that? So I decided to, because I always need another case, always going to need another case without question. Even though I got this lovely orange case from Lake recently, I'm already overflowing in other places, strangely. So another case, I thought, well, let's see if we can do that. So I got in touch with the guy and said, could you swap it into being a Eurorack case? And he said, sure, yeah, no bother. So we had a bit of a conversation. I found some rails at this place that would fit it. Excuse me, power supply, that kind of thing. It's still difficult finding power supplies, I have to say, in the UK. We got all the stuff we got for it, I think, was from Amsterdam. Other than these sorts of power supplies, you can get the tip-top Micro Zeus or the Row Power ones, things like that, no problem. But internal power supplies, that seemed to be a mystery. Synth racks, I think, had some in the UK, but the description of it was almost as if they weren't sure whether they were going to work or not. And it was like, well, I need a little bit more than that in terms of reassurance. It's like, I don't understand quite. So anyway, I couldn't find. I mean, Thonk doesn't seem to do them. There's numerous ones that appear to be available. I just can't find them anywhere in the UK. If anybody knows a place that sells, fixed internal power supplies for Eurorack that aren't for 24U, So the case is 8U. And we had a conversation over how best to arrange that. He said he could make it smaller if I like, just to make it 6U, or expand it into 9U, that kind of thing. And I thought, no, let's keep it as it is. And what I'm going to do is have a 1U row, top and bottom, because I've never had any 1U before. And I've been talking to Ritual Electronics, funny enough, who do a lot of 1U. And I've been saying, well, I would love to review your stuff, man. I just don't have a way of plugging in 1U stuff. So the upshot is that this 2600 case that's going to look the same, it's going to look like an ARP case, but it's going to be Eurorack with 1U, 3U, 3U, 1U. Beautiful. Internal power supply. Gorgeous it will be. I was kind of hoping it might be ready by now. I don't know how he's doing. The original plan was that it would be here before Christmas, but I appreciate that I've changed the goalposts. Moved the goalposts, so it could be very different. But that's quite exciting. I'm going to have to rethink this whole thing again. I don't know. Oh, it's fantastic, this Eurorack business. It's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. So I guess we should probably wind this to a close in a minute. I didn't do any soldering in the end. I am sorry for that. But there we go. We had a nice chat. We had a nice chat about things. Yeah. I think back in the day, you'll find that everybody sued everybody at some point over something because everyone's been borrowing each other's stuff. It's a difference that everyone absolutely has their own opinion on levels and lines and stuff. For me, Eurorack is about copying designs, borrowing designs, taking and evolving designs. Everyone's got a Polivox filter, everyone's got a ladder filter, everyone's got a VCO based on the same oscillator chips. I don't find there a problem with any of that necessarily. The problem really came with the key step, with the swing. I kind of thought they were past it. I really felt get back into it again. I really felt over the mess with the whole Peter Kern thing. I felt that even if it was a half-assed apology, that something had definitely changed. They pulled themselves back in, they reeled everything back in, and they focused on making little synths and getting them to market. That's what they seemed to do, and I felt fair enough. Because I'm a resurrection guy, no, a reconciliation guy. I'm the person who wants people to come back together. I don't want walls and barriers. I don't want people not speaking to each other. I want to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. I want to project forgiveness in every direction for everything. You know, we can always start again. We can always talk. We can always move forward. Very much into that vibe in life generally. So I felt that was brilliant. No, not that it was brilliant. That was all right, and they moved on. And I felt, okay, we can do this. We can work with this. And I appreciated the fact that things had changed. And then wham, they do this, and just think, oh, that's just why. There's no reason for the anyway. And it's because it's, you know, I don't mind them copying the Monopoly, the 2600, anything they like. But why that? Anyway. Signal synths for power supplies? Really? Signal synths. Signal sounds, do you mean? So if you mean signal sounds, then they didn't have any. Anyway, I'll look at that another time. Moog has released a 4-tier version of the stands that you use. Have they? I've seen people chain them together in funny ways. 4-tier version. Does it start to bend over? Because that then gets a bit unwieldy. Because I'm already preferring the flatness of my orange case to the console sort of curve of the older ones. It's interesting, that, isn't it? You know, if I was going to do it again, I'd probably get lots of suitcases. Yeah, Mark, absolutely. Yeah, the Meanwell PSUs. I think that's what I've opted for. I can't remember. Anyway, probably missed lots of questions. I'm sorry about that. My old boss at Turnkey, right? He spent thousands, I think it was, on domain names. Yeah, you know, back in the early days of domain names, I think he bought everybody's, hoping he'd make a mint on it. He probably did, and that's a bit like copywriting other people's products. You know, you just think that it'll give you control over something, or give you leverage, or something. I suppose it's not unheard of. I don't think it's evil. It's opportunist, perhaps, is what it is. Did I ever get around to that suitcase modular system you're going to build? Yes and no. It's under here. Oh, I've got, yeah. I've got 2 suitcase projects. I've got the little red suitcase up there, which now seems a little bit weedy. I'll think about that. But I've got a larger one down here that I was going to put the Cosmo stuff into. So that's all still to come. That's still, a lot of that is still to come. I mean, I could just jack in the day job, right, and just do interesting modular DIY projects. Could I don't know. I'd need a hell of a lot more subscribers, I think. I need, you know, I mean, Patreon. I'm over 100 now on Patreon, which is awesome. I hit 100 a little while back and then dipped back down again. That's frustrating. But now I'm up to like 102, which is just phenomenal. Phenomenal. So I just need to like quadruple that really, and then I could perhaps try making a living out of it. Jeremy, that's class, that is. Well done. Well done. What's the poster? That's Forbidden Planet. That's what that is. It's in one of those strange selection of panels, so it comes in the posters as like A3 panels, I think those are. Then you sort of stick them together to make the poster. It looks like that. Like that. It's got me screen half down on poor old Robbie the robot. So yeah, winding up then. For the lulls, yeah, I think Molten Music has already taken. There was a record company I think called Molten Music, so I don't know. I don't know what that achieves. Cool, all right. Norfolk in the spring. Yeah, maybe. So, coming up then, let's finish off with that. I'll talk about that as I plug this back in, because maybe I'll try to give you another quick tune on the product to play us out. Maybe, I don't know. Is this off? Yeah, okay. Oh, that's a bit wangy. I don't know. Like I say, I haven't put all the nuts and bolts, the knobs on yet. And you should see. I've done this slightly dodgy thing with the way the Mother 32 is in here, because the Mother 32 is in here as a Eurorack module, not as itself. And so what I've done, what I could do, let me bring this out here. I can swap to that other camera for a minute. I've got a tip-top cable. That's quite exciting. Quite excited by that. Quite excited by that. So what I've done, because essentially I got these two cases knocking around, these two 60s. One of them is the Moog one, Mother 32 obviously, and the other one was the first. Where did I get this from? I think I just bought a 60 HP case, I think, to go along with it. I must have done. I can't remember, it's so long ago. So rather than having to have two power supplies, right, I'm on this camera now, rather than having two power supplies to run whatever was in here, I turned the Mother 32 into a module, connected it with a power cable here, which is slowly being worn away, so it will going to short at some point, and so that I can run it all from the tip-top audio microSUS here. Genius, except for this going on there. It's not that great. It's not going to quite work. I mean, I could drill a hole in something or something of that nature, but for now it kind of works. It works well enough. I'll go with it. So Discord then. Would you like me to create a Discord channel? Is that something that would be cool? I mean, a lot of people do it. You'd love an MM Discord. I've found it slightly annoying myself, only because you get lots of notifications, and I guess that's just a matter of calming the thing down a bit, depending on what you're doing. Because I've been on other people's Discords, so and turn it off. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't exactly know. I mean, I guess it's a place where you can just chat together, yeah? It's your own place for chatting. Could do. But then would I ever get to go to bed? Do it, says people. All right, I'll think about it. It'll be something I might put together over the holidays. So what am I doing? I was going to turn this on just to play you out. I was going to tell you what's happening next. So, am I going to squeeze another video out before Christmas? Probably not. I'm going to try and do a little bit more on the Korg sequencer tomorrow, as I mentioned. So I'll try to squeeze that out. I'll try to squeeze out the video on the Frequency Essential product. See if I can get that done before Christmas. Otherwise, I've got lots of writing to do on the Black sequencer and the Data Blender. So that is probably me up to New Year, I should think. I might do a Molten monthly before the end of the year, because I'm not away, because I'm not seeing other family or bits and pieces. I figure I might be able to do an end of year Molten monthly plus a live stream, possibly. Leave that with me. Otherwise, I'm actually on the Geosynths show this Sunday from 6, I think. At some point during the evening, apparently I talked myself into doing a performance. I'm not quite sure what that was about. I think he was hoping just to chat, but I said, "Do you want me to what chat, or are we doing a performance?" He said, "Oh, well, you play something. That'd be great." And I go, "Oh, so I now seem to be playing something." So I don't know quite what that will be, but I will pull that together. So do come along on Sunday. Check that out. So otherwise, yeah, that's what's coming up. That at the moment. Then, I mean, I've got a whole load of stuff I could be doing. Whole load of stuff. The logic gates, Frequency Essential logic gates. Yes, that's the next thing after that. Cool. Right, let me see if I can get some sound out of this fella again then. And then I'll bid you good night. What was I doing? So I was using this Super 16 sequencer, which is the first time I've plugged this in. I've had it a little bit now. So that was quite cool. So I've got a gate going in there. I have no idea how to use it other than, I guess, I turn on things, I hold them and do a pitch kind of thing like that. That seems to be it. And then play. That seems to have something going on there. Let's turn on some more notes and play those about a bit. Now I need some kind of output, which I was trying to work out how to use the mixer section on the Mother 32. I could never work that out, but I think I finally did, and I need this to go outside. This doesn't seem very loud. Oh, it's quite loud over there. It's just, this is not loud here. I can't hear it. Oh. It's not getting pitched, that's what it's not getting. So this is coming from here, plug that into there. No, I've broken it. Oh, that's a shame. I had it working. I had it working. Oh, hang on. Oh, here we go. Here we go. to doing that. Oh, killed it. What an interesting little thing. Yeah, there's lots in here that I haven't quite worked out which way it's going in. Is it coming out? What that's for? But you've got these mix of waveforms going into the filter. Filter's really crunchy. Quite like that. I need to get some knobs on it because they're quite hard to turn otherwise. But yeah, and the Super 16. I don't know, stuff going on there. It seemed to be producing voltages out of the CV output, which was interesting at various points. Just not entirely sure what's going on there, but that's never stopped me before. So yeah, that'll do. A Discord, you say? Right. I'll see what I could do. And in the meantime, go make some tunes or solder something. Or something. Thanks ever so much for being with me. It's always appreciated. Have a really Merry Christmas if I don't see you before, which seems unlikely. I'll probably see you between the two. Probably. So yeah. Cool. Stay safe out there. Have a great time. Take it easy. And just stay by yourself. Don't go out. Watch some telly. There's great telly on. Great telly. Maybe even some videos I might make. Yeah? So take it easy. See you soon. See you soon. Oh, I can press the button here. Look.